And welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. And today we are heading back to our Artful box to work with some clay. Up in the stash shop on the website today are a small selection of quality used art supplies, but also I have made the decision to put these two artworks on as limited prints. This one's a little bit special. If you remember, this was off the back of all the subscription boxes at Christmas. I am hand finishing these with Julia Kay's metallic paint. So although it will be a print, you do have a hand finished element to it, and everyone will therefore be unique. So if you fancy having one of these prints, then just head over to the website and you can check everything out there. Okay. Let's talk about Artful. I was very amused reading through all your suggestions for what to make with this clay. I immediately vetoed the cow situation because when we used polymer clay, which was a year ago, believe it or not, we made Mildred, and Mildred is kind of like part of the cave now with her little derpy eyes and our Santa hat, even though it's not Christmas. I didn't want to do that again. I don't want to be a one-trick pony. Lots of you were really, really happy with the idea of the pinch pot panda. And I think that's a fabulous idea. You do have to remember that I am not particularly skilled or experienced when it comes to using clay. However, I thoroughly enjoy things like this. I thought the pinch pot panda was a good idea because I am going to have guidance because I am a novice when it comes to clay. And also, it's absolutely freaking adorable, which obviously I'm going to like. The other thing that made me chuckle is this is an advanced skill level, so I am out of my depth straight away. But you guys know I am not scared. I am prepared. I have a cup of tea. I have water because we're going to make a slip. I've taken my wedding ring off. Like I am about as ready as we're going to be. So the first thing I wanted to show you was, if you remember when we did the unboxing, I had a little go. And my little derpy clay dude, he has survived. He is 100% A-OK, and he has all of his faculties as far as I'm aware. So we're going to keep a hold of him and we're going to paint him at the same time as we paint our pinch pot panda once it has dried out. So let's see what we need. Tools needed, paintbrushes. Well, I've got loads of those. I did get some cocktail sticks. The other thing I noticed is they talk about the weights of the clay, you know, to gauge sizes. So I'm going to get my little scales that I used to weigh my parcels in the stash shop, just in case we need to weigh anything out. Right, okay, so let's make a start. I'm excited. Step 1. I'm a little bit nervous about this, not gonna lie. Right, let's take a wee look at the magazine here. Step 1, make the pinch pots. Roll 2 identical balls. They look a little bit like this. Of approximately 100 grams each. Yeah, so there we go, we can weigh it out. And shape to a cylinder. Obviously we're in grams because we're in the UK. That's only 55 grams. That's gonna be over. Right, 102, I'll tack it. 95, that was a good guess, wasn't it? I'm pretty good at eyeballing things. See, once I've seen something like that once, I'm pretty good at gauging it out, and it's because I used to be a chef. I could cut you off a block of 10 grams of cheese right now, no problem. There's so much clay left. That's still that first bag as well. That's crazy. Right, let's pop that back in there, seal this up. I kind of want to make something rude. I'm in a silly mood. That's appealing to me. Oh, get some tea into me, it'll be fine. Okay, so I've got my balls. Remarkably, they're about the size of a bread roll as well. We talked about that before, didn't we? Shape into a cylinder. Okay, so is this going to be like a soft cylinder? I think it must be a soft cylinder. I want my panda to be really fat. Like that. Okay, there is a picture here. The third picture on the first page shows you her poking the hole in, which is the next step, and they look kind of that shape. So I'll go with that. The good thing is, even if it's not quite right, we can always adjust it slightly. You know, we are working with clay. It's not the end of the world if every step isn't perfect. It's not like when you're painting and if you don't get a step right and then paint over the top of it, it's screwed. Hold the clay in the palm of one hand and push the thumb of the other hand into the centre. Into the centre of what though? Like in here. Start pinching between thumb and index finger, keeping the clay rotating. My thumbnail is going to get in the way here. I could really do with cutting that. I did cut the rest of my nails before we did this. I'll tidy it up with a nail file later. That's better. Right, okay. Pinch and pull up. Oh, like, okay, pull up rather than out. Take the time to get both pinch pots the same height and width. Keep checking the rims match up as they'll be joined later. Yeah, okay. I feel like that's really uneven. Look, like you can see there, she was talking about the walls. Like, yeah, I've got a discrepancy. Oh, I'm concentrating on the thickness, but I'm not not entirely sure that that's all the same height. Like if I turn it on the side, I've got a high bit there, haven't I? Let's see if I can match the other one up. Oh, what are you guys making me do? I have to say though, most of you will know I'm having a pretty rough time just now. I'm not really myself 100%. I'd like to think that I'm getting there now, but the thought of filming this video is the first time in, I'm going to say, the best part of a month where I've actually been really excited to film a video and thought to myself, this is going to be really good fun. Even if it's a disaster, like I'm up for it. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here today. I'm a bit happier to be alive today, to be honest. I really haven't been feeling that way at all for the last wee while. Do my rims match up? Oh, they do. Oh, that's amazing. Right, okay, I'm just going to tidy this up again. That was a pure fluke. Leave to firm for half an hour or gently heat with a hairdryer on a medium heat. Well, I think we'll just pop these to the side for a wee second because we're supposed to be making a slip in this time. So I'll make the slip first and then I'll go and... So to make a slip, you want to take a wee bit of your clay and break it up into like tiny wee pieces. I think you can weigh this out too, but honestly, I think it's better to do it by feel. Again, just purely because I know what slip feels like. Don't ask me how I know that, but I know how. I know what consistency it's supposed to be. That's what I mean. I just said 50 grams. I'm not doing 50 grams because I'm honestly don't think I'm going to need it. We're in terms of what we actually need the slip for, we're only going to need it to attach arms, feet, snout, and ears. So there's no point in wasting a whole load of clay making up a massive batch of slip when we're not going to need it. That's looking fairly good because on account of how bloody cold it is here, is actually my tea's like tepid now. So I'll go and top that up and yeah, we'll come back in a little minute and we'll carry on with the next step. Alrighty, I have a fresh cup of tea. I've also set my bread maker going. I did promise Mr. Jem that I would make him a fresh loaf because I haven't done it for ages. I've gotten really lazy. So you might be able to hear that chuntering away in the background. It'll stop in a little while because when it starts the proving process, it goes silent. Anywho's, right, okay, so we're definitely firm because I'm starting to get some cracks along here, which is absolutely fine, kind of expected that. So the next stage is to join the pots. So it says here to pinch out a small lip on each pot. I've kind of already done that. Score the rim of each pot by roughing up the surface with a sharp tool, e.g. a cocktail stick. Da-da. Did we do this on both sides? Score the rim of each pot. Okay, so we do that to both. It'll be long after I've finished filming this video, but in probably about an hour and a half, the house is going to smell amazing. Because that's the main reason I like to make bread, to make my house smell nice. Right, okay, so I need a brush to apply the slip. I do keep a little selection of really cheap paint brushes that I perhaps wouldn't use for painting but would be suitable for craft. So I've got, this is a Royal and Langnickel brush. These are like really cheap brushes. This came as part of a set and it's synthetic bristles. I wanted to pick a little one though because we're working in quite small areas here in terms of slip. So I'm just going to put that on there. I'm assuming I'm only putting slip on one side. I don't think I need it on both sides. Yeah, one pot's rim. That's what it says in the instructions. This brush is just a good size for this as well, because I'm thinking about when we're adding the ears and things as well. You know, you're not going to want a dirty, great big brush for that. That's fine. I've got a really runny nose. Okay, score the rim of each pot, blah, blah, blah. Gently push pots together and give it a little wiggle to secure. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. Oh! It looks like an egg. Pinch seams together. Oh, right. So we're actually going to be like... I didn't think you'd want to do that, truthfully, but okay. There we go. See, we're smoothing out, smoothing out, smoothing out, smoothing out. Actually, once I've done this, I kind of want to smooth out with the sponge because I do want my little dude to have like texture to him. Right, my point here is like I've pinched out this rim, which is obviously given it this shape here because I've been pinching here. There is not a jot or a hint of that in this tutorial pictures. Don't worry about it looking neat at this point. Well, that's good. Make a small hole in the bottom of the cocktail stick. So this is where I have to decide what's the bottom and what's the top. I think this should be the bottom. So I'm making a hole in the bottom of the cocktail stick. Use a wooden spoon to gently slap the clay in. I'm way past that point, guys. Like I really am. This is not, if you look at the proportions here, look at mine, right? And then look at the one in the magazine. Like the bottom half is squashed so flat. So when I put the cocktail stick in there, that didn't do that because my clay is far too firm. I'll wet my hands a little bit here. I said that was me. I'm like milking a cow now. Oh dear. I'm really happy with the top half like shape, but And not so good with the bottom half, because it doesn't look anything like it's supposed to in the pictures. Step 5 is adding the feet. Roll 2 small balls of equal size for feet. Mark on the body where the feet will go and score the area. Score the back of the feet and apply a slip. Gently push into place, giving a little wiggle. Use a smaller brush to apply slip around the edge of the feet. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So, up to me to decide first of all how big or small his feet are going to be. Obviously, the larger the surface area we have to stick to the main part, the better. But we don't want to kind of ruin the aesthetic here. Okay, so time to decide where the front is. I think this should be the front. If he's standing up, I want the feet to be here. So again, score the area, apply slip, and then... So the way I've pushed this in, basically, his tummy's going to hang over his feet a little bit, and I'm not mad about that either. Oh, that is hilarious. The fact that he's going to be a slightly wonky panda as well, I think is what's making it more entertaining. I certainly hope it's going to be entertaining for you, especially see when it comes to the painting part, that's going to be funny, because we're going to make him super derpy. I think this next step's my favourite part. Repeat step 6 for arms. Attach one arm out at an angle if you want your panda to hold a pencil. Yes, of course I want my panda to hold a pencil. Okay, and we're doing the same for the ears and the snout, so it's just going to be different sizes, one would assume. Do you know how this looks like? It looks like Dizzy as in the 1980s Codemasters video game character that's an egg. It looks like Dizzy right now. I'm sitting here, I've got merino wool socks on, and I've got a vest, a long sleeve t-shirt, and then like a micro fleece on over the top, and it's only 13 degrees, as in 13, in the cave here, so that's a problem. Yeah, this absolutely looks like Dizzy. Dizzy is an egg that's got boxing gloves for hands. Maybe I should just make this into Dizzy egg. Or maybe I could just do another one. The next thing we've got to do is the ears and the snout. So I'm going to try and do these all together. Okay, how big a snout do we want? I think we do not want a substantial honker. And like really small ears. You know, because the pandas have got their nose and their mouth all kind of joined together like a lot of other animals. So maybe I want more of a triangular shape, but that's too big now, see? Right, I need to do ears now as well. I want his ears to be tiny, because that's going to be super cute. My hands are so dry. Oh, right, okay, let's get the slip on the go. Blub, 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 blub. Oh, look at your ears. Oh, he's got lopsided ears. He's not fat enough. Like, I'm upset that he's not fat. Blub, 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 blub. Alright, we're looking good. He does look a bit like a baby. He's just got really big hands, but I want him to hold stuff, so that's fine. The next step is really interesting. I've read on a little bit here. And the next step says, now for the really fun bit. Use fingers to apply a thin layer of slip to the body. And this is to create texture on the body, obviously like a fur texture. Don't go on too thick, otherwise there's more risk of cracks appearing while drying. Avoid applying to the bottom of the feet and the snout. Create a smooth area for eyes to be painted on later and leave to dry for a few days before painting with acrylic. So here, I'm just going to go straight in here with what's left of my slip. Here's my plan. I don't really have a few days. I need this to be quicker than this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop him in the sunroom, because as I mentioned earlier, it's really bright. The sun is out, so it's warm in there without there. You know, I'll sit him in the shade. Obviously, I won't put him in direct sunlight, but it'll be warm in there and it'll be a gentle heat. So I'm hoping that he will dry suitably. Right, so I'm leaving this area, if I just tilt him slightly, I'm leaving this area up here where I'm going to put his eyes. I'm not going to put any slip on there at all. I've kept this fairly thin. If I just turn him over, you can see how rough and uneven he is. That is the absolute plan. I now just have to find something to put him on so that I can stick him through in the sunroom to dry out. So what I'm hoping is that by later on tomorrow, it is very early in the morning, I'm hoping by tomorrow I will be able to paint him. So that is the plan. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this so far, and we'll come back when everything's dry and we can start on some painting. Woo! No idea how I'm going to turn the camera off either. What is not in this tutorial is his party hat. I forgot about his party hat. That's one thing I will say. This is a messy process. If you don't enjoy mess or you're not in the mood for it, I would strongly suggest keeping away from this box until you are in the mood. Learn the lessons, do the scoring. Pew 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 pew. Like so. Oh. Get off me. Everything's sticking to me. Right, okay, so that is it thus far. He does have incredibly oversized hands and incredibly tiny ears, but I think that's just going to add to the charm. But yeah, that's it for now. Okay, so we're back and it is about 30 hours later, and my little sunroom holiday for our panda has worked. He's looking a bit rough around the edges. The first thing that I find really interesting is if we look at this reference image, I haven't managed to keep that sort of egg shape at the bottom. He does actually go in at the bottom, so it's as if he's got like a proper muffin top. And once again, do you know something? I'm not that mad about it. I wish I'd made his hat tinier though, because that's really funny. Yeah, so other than that, I don't know. I think I was probably a bit too rough with the layer of slip. You can see that it looks really rough at the back, but he does look pretty hairy. The other thing I've noticed as well, there is a little bit of separation with the tops of the hands and the top of the snout, and I think that my slip probably wasn't thick enough. Now we are on to the painting process. I have more acrylic paint than I can shake a stick at, so I've decided not to open the Artful black acrylic paint. I have a glut of black acrylic paint as well, so I might as well use a tube that's already open. All of the brushes I have here are Artful brushes, but my idea was that we could go, you know, while we're waiting for one to dry, we could jump to the other. I think that would probably be the most fun. So I'm going to splodge out a big bit of black into one of these plastic tubs. This was bought in Patty at Christmas, and I went crazy because everyone was throwing the tubs out, and I was like, please don't do that. Right, I think the first thing to do, get some white paint as well, of which I also have an absolute boatload. I have no reason to ever mix any acrylic paint ever again. I've got tons of the stuff. What I want to do first is I'm going to put the white down on the bulk of the body of the panda, and yeah, let's get to work. So basically want a band here. I'm going to try not to get his hat as well. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to think about texture as well, like why not? He does feel like quite a solid piece of engineering, considering he's hollow. I don't feel as if this is dainty or delicate in any way, or that it's going to break at any point. What colour to paint this little dude? I feel like he should be a really fun colour. What about, I've got fluorescent green, how about that? Actually called leaf green, but that's fluorescent green. That's like the offensive green. Okay, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful here. I don't know how many coats of paint this is going to take either, but we're going to find out. Okay, so we'll pop him down there just now and leave him to dry off a little bit. Yeah, that white paint's dry, that's crazy. That was not long at all. Okay, I'm going to start working on some black areas here, and I'm going to need a fairly small brush for this, because I've got the likes of his ears. Okay, I'll hold him by his hands. I want to give him a big, massive, honky nose. I don't know if I want to do it with this paintbrush or not. I think I want an even smaller paintbrush. I need to put in patches for his eyes though, so this is going to be the first thing that's going to cause me issues. Me and symmetry, yeah, not so great. I would say that my brush skills aren't too bad these days. The texture of the clay that I have left, which is entirely my fault obviously, is a different story. Yeah, so... No, not that happy with that. Right, okay, so now I want to start the band in the middle. Yeah, covering the textured bits is taking the work. That's where the work is. Okay, I'm gonna go for the nose later. I'm gonna let him dry a little bit. I'm gonna try for the nose. Okay, alright. Can start his feet while I'm here as well. Well, the top part of his feet anyway. I can still touch him by his hat, but I'm really paranoid that I'm going to pull his hat off. Okay, I found an old kind of like firmer stiff brush, and I feel like that's going to be what I'm after here. So I'm going to take off the excess, and I'm just going to get to work on these edges here. Yeah, see, that's better. Okay, that's kind of what I was hoping for. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of like that better. And I do want to bring this quite far up because I kind of want a snouty bit to stand out. Oh, this is a disaster at the back. I'm going to go around with a tiny brush at the end and like, you know, just do the kind of like the touching up stuff. I need to give him like a tail, like he has to have a tail. Completely off-centre tail, but never mind. I should have actually given him a tail, like a, you know, like a bunny nubbin tail. Okay, we're in well here. Just before I get rid of this green, because I think I'm kind of done with Gary Gobstopper here. He's looking fairly even and offensively green, beautifully offensively green. I'm going to make the panda's party hat this colour as well. Thought that would be a good idea. I might as well take advantage of this situation. I'm going to have to go quite thick with the paint here because I don't know whether it's because the clay was starting to dry at the time, but it's come up, it's dried with like a really, really rough texture. Like there's lots of fibres hanging off it and stuff. The other thing I have to do as well, which I'll probably do with this brush, is I have to try and give Gary Gobstopper the sort of inside of the mouth bit. I think I'm going to make that black. So I might as well try and do that now. I don't know how brave I am about this either. I don't really know where to put my paintbrush here. I'm like, oh, because I've got to try and avoid the teeth as well, which is the other problem. God damn it. We can do the rest of the party hat. It's really weird sitting here painting this. This reminds me of my gran. One of the things that she used to play on her iPad all the time, she decided to get an iPad at the tender age of 90, by the way. She used to play a game called Panda Pop, and it was like one of these match 3 games. So this guy kind of reminds me of her a little bit. Obviously, it doesn't remind me of her specifically, as in physically, but that's quite funny. Maybe we should call her Panda Jessie then, because Jessie can be a boy's name too, can't it? Yeah. Okay, we're actually getting on not too bad here. We're getting on better than I thought we would. Okay, I'm going to leave that green to do its thing now. I kind of got all the basic bits and bobs, including his tail, even though it's slightly offset. So I need to try and do something about giving them some eye areas now. Okay, just stop there. I also need to do his feet here because we're going to have to give him like, oh my lord. What happened there? I do not know. That went horribly wrong. Now, for Gary's ears, I was going to make his lips pink or red. I just happen to have some cadmium red here. So I think we're going to go for that. Green and red go together. If you know your colour theory or you use a colour wheel. Red and green are complementary colours. That's why Christmas always looks so good, guys. Gary Gobstopper likes a nice red lip because he feels it sets off his skin tone beautifully, which of course it does. So, come on then, Gary Gobstopper, let's be having you. See, this is really difficult because it's like sausage shaped, it's cylindrical, and I have to try and get this red paint round all the facets of this without ruining everything else. Let's go back to Jessie temporarily here. I actually have a dotting tool, and I've just remembered that I've got a dotting tool, and that's a much better idea for putting polka dots on things than using a paintbrush. Yeah, okay, good gem. Oh, I don't know where my dotting tools are, otherwise I'd go and get them. I think they're in a box in an unreachable part of the cave. There's every possibility. I'm going to go for the weenie paintbrush treatment here. I've got a wee Art Space 3-stroke 0. Don't get much smaller than that. Can you even see that? You can actually see it better against the... Yeah, there we go. So this would be what would be considered as a detail brush, one would imagine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start tidying up Gary here. Missed that part entirely. That was brilliant. Well done. These parts that I'm touching up now, this is purely my own pride. They're barely visible, these parts, but I know that they're there. And I like things to be precise. I like working with teeny tiny paintbrushes. The same way as I like teeny tiny fine liners as well. So I am fixing these. Say purely for my own benefit. Not even my own benefit, just for my own satisfaction. Personal satisfaction. I think I want, trying to think what colour I want his little ears here, and I think I want to make them like a darker green. I was thinking like a pine green colour. Okay, I've got Hooker's green, and this is kind of what I had in my mind. As I said, there we go, don't need to mix any paint. I only need a tiny bit of this though. Oh yeah, that's the perfect colour. Yeah, this green was a good choice. I'm happy. I can't decide whether these are ears or just really strange horns. Okay, the moment of truth. Can I blob on derpy panda eyes in one fluid movement? The answer is probably no. Oh, I did it. We are dry. Gary Gobstopper is looking good. But also, he's also been drinking, clearly. Our panda, Jesse Panda, is nice and dry now as well. He does look a bit concerned about the world. He's actually turned out not too bad, apart from the polka dots on the hat, which I was pretty peed off about. He also is capable of balancing, not a paintbrush because they're too long. Maybe the Upcrate travel brush, actually, while it's folded away. Oh. Yes! Right, so all that is left to do is the final step, which is to put some glossy varnish on that we got in our Artful box. So I've just got a separate plastic plate. So I don't know how much I'm going to need. I imagine I would want to be fairly generous. Got a craft brush here. This is a Lucas brush, which I was assured are very good quality craft brushes, and I'm going to use this to put the varnish on. So I mean, obviously after I've done this, this is us kind of done. I have had an absolute ball with this box. Like, I really, really have. I've enjoyed so much of it, especially at a time which has been quite unfortunate for me. My mental health has not been good at all. It's probably been the worst it's been since I started the channel. So, I mean, I've had a pretty rough ride of it, but I'm starting to feel better. And this is exactly the kind of thing that's, you know, made me want to art all this time, all these years. That's 5 years now. So yeah, it's really, really good. Will I use air dry clay more in future? The answer is probably no. Simply because I don't like the urgency of it. Like, I like to be able to take my time, and that's why I prefer the oven baked clay, and it's Fimo clay I like to use. So, but this has still been really good fun. I mean, Gary Gobstopper, what a legend this little dude is. I'm not sure how long the varnish takes to dry. I'm hoping it's not like 6 days or something. Okay, so let's pop him over there. I'll just start at the top here. I better put Jessie on a plate as well. Yeah, I think this this is a really good box. I think it's really accessible, considering I'm not a clay sculptor by any stretch of the imagination, and I tackled the one of the more advanced projects in the book. I would say that it's very accessible. It's easy to get into, especially with the tutorials. I think that most people can have a good time with this box. I really do. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to know your thoughts and whether you thought it was balanced enough, or whether you were really put off because it's clay or because it's air dry clay. Like, I would love to hear all your opinions on these things. I think in particular, I feel that this box has been really good value for money as well. I truly, truly feel the amount of clay that we got it's loads. And you can see I've still got a fair bit left in the box, in the pack that I opened. And there's still another pack. I am going to put the second pack on the stash shop for anybody that would like it. As I said, I much prefer the oven bake clay. The air dry clays, it's just a bit too urgent for my liking. So if you would like to grab that, you can head over to the stash shop at the website, which I'll put on the screen, probably in that gap there, because that's a convenient place to do it. The link, the actual active link to the shop, is down in the description if you want to go and hit that. But yeah, I'll stick that, after I've finished with it here, I'll stick it up in the stash shop, so if anybody wants to grab a pack, I say it's loads, it's absolutely loads, and start making some really cool clay stuff, then feel free to do so. I've managed to get green paint on his crotch. I don't know how that happened. I think this stuff's fairly quick drying because it feels kind of tacky already. Just what's left in this little bottle here. I have to say that 3 to 5 minutes drying time between applications, it says. And it's also water soluble, so that means when we're cleaning our brushes, we can just use normal detergent. 3 to 5 minutes. That's quite quick drying time, isn't it? Right, I am going to leave these to dry, and I'll give you one last look before we finish up for today. I just want to thank you all very much for coming and hanging out. This has cheered me up considerably, just having a lot of fun here with something a little bit different. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on my performance with the Pinch Pot Panda as well, because it was you guys that wanted him in the first place. And any other comments are always welcome down below, as you know. So I'll see you back in the cave really soon for another video. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.